Dobre brano, Prague. Thank you very much. I can see you're a very good and exciting audience. So I hope you're ready to engage with me today to be able to help you with, have you got the clicker? I'm just clicking in the air. It's not working. Thank you, no problem. So I really hope that you're looking forward to engaging with me today to be able to help you get an understanding of how you can perform better online. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is actually something that I've been doing for the last 3 years. And today, for the very first time, I'm going to be sharing with you my online method. The method that I've been using that helps me to understand what my customer acquisition journey is. What is that journey that we take that visitor on that becomes a prospect, that then becomes a happy customer of ours, and then deepens that relationship? Now, I am going to be sharing with you 6 trends, and what I love about events like this is a little bit of controversial. Some things are said by somebody else, which they love or dislike, and other people love them for a different reason. So I am going to be sharing trends with you today, because as a marketeer, I'd like to use these trends to find out whether or not they're going to be here to stay, or whether or not they're just a phase and they're going to disappear. So I'm going to be sharing with you what those trends are, and more importantly, how each one of those trends fit into the customer acquisition journey. We are not extinct. Not yet. Stephen Hawking says we have 100 years left. That's it. We've got 100 years left. Elon Musk has said, unless we can immerse ourselves into technology to be able to understand how it can continue the human race, we've got 100 years left. Now, that's not me saying that. That's Stephen Hawking saying that. A couple of years ago, he said 1,000 years. Shows how fast technology is moving at the moment. So this is my method that I use that helps me through the different stages of a visitor to a prospect to a customer. Each one of these stages are touch points. We've heard earlier how junk is ruining our lives, whether it's online, whether it's through email, whether it's offline, whatever that might be. But what I want to talk to you today is the first part of this method is all about relevance. And I'm going to go into more detail around the relevancy. Stage 1, relevancy. Stage 2, engagement. Stage 3, we have to nurture those contacts. Think about this. I have a seed in my hand. I take the seed. I put it into a bucket. I take some water. I slowly pour water into that seed. I do this automatically, by the way. I pour this water into the seed. The seed grows into a lovely flower. This is what we need to do with our prospects. We've got to nurture these people along the journey. When we've built trust and loyalty, as we've already heard, the acquisition comes. We get that sale from that potential prospect. Then that new customer of ours becomes an advocate. And I'm going to be sharing with you the trends that we use to go through these different stages of this online method. So a little bit about me. As you mentioned, as the Hans have mentioned earlier, I now have a beautiful baby girl. She's 3 months old. I'm 46 years old. We did 3 rounds of IVF to get to this point. So she really is a special young lady. And something else that's been very important to me is I've written a book. So I wrote a book called Think Digital First, just helping entrepreneurs, salesmen, marketing people to really think about going online first of all. Inside of here is my 25 years of being in business. I worked out of China for 11 years. I worked with global brands like Disney. I was achieving $1 million of sales a month. I even wrote an ebook all about sales, which today makes me cringe. I'm scared about where my mindset was years ago. It's all changed. And so I wrote a book all about it. Something else that you might not know about me, and I didn't want to kind of share it with you at that moment, is I used to be a professional hip-hop dancer. That's not funny. But what is going to be funny is I'm going to invite somebody onto the stage to come over here. Come on, Hamza. And I'm going to show Hamza how to do the moonwalk in front of 300 people. Would you like that? Excellent. Okay, come on, Hamza. I did warn you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you stand at the front here. We're going to face this way. Okay, first of all, put your right foot forward.
Okay.
And lean on the ball of your foot. Okay. And then I want you to bring this leg and drag it back with your foot on the floor. When you get to the end, lift up and stand on your heel. Okay. Then this foot does the same again. So we go back and lift, back and lift, back and lift. Okay, so now we're just going to finish with a bit of... No, I won't make you do... Give me a round of applause, everybody. You weren't expecting that, were you? No. Thank you very much. Very good. So what I'd like you to do now is, if you would like to get a copy of the book, please tweet. I want you to pick up your mobile phones. My Twitter handle is @WarrenKnight. Do the hashtag #DigitalFirst and the hashtag #Perf2020. If you'd like to get a copy of my book, tweet, and I will come and see you afterwards, and I'll come and give you a copy of the book, and I'll sign it for you as well. So pick up the phones and tweet me now. You can take a picture. Make sure you get this side, because it's my good side, okay? Take a picture and tweet the book. Relevancy. Probably the most important part of this journey. We have already heard the negative statistics when brands don't get this right. We have to talk to our visitors and our prospects and our customers in a way that they want to be communicated to, not in the way that we want to talk at them, but making it personal. It's all about personalization. How can we communicate our message at the different stages of the customer acquisition journey to make it personal? Customers, what do they look like? How are they thinking? So I've got two friends for you today. My first friend is Rita. She is more right brain. She thinks creatively. She's not ready to buy a product yet, but your company sells that product. You haven't built loyalty yet, and there is no trust there yet. So how can we engage with Rita to help her understand how we can help them? What is the pain that Rita's in that enables us as a business to solve that pain? Now, Rita goes through 3 stages of building trust. First stage, she might not know that maybe we're talking about a smartwatch. Rita's went to a friend's last night. A friend's got a new smartwatch. She was playing on it the whole time. She goes back home. She goes on her computer or picks up her smartphone, and she just types in, what is a smartwatch? She's thinking creatively about what's important to her. But as brands, we need to answer these questions. So I want you to think about the analogy of swimming upstream. We've heard the cost of how much it can, for us as a business, be a huge expense when running paid campaigns. But it's not when we understand the mindset of our customers. So she's asking the what is question. Once she gets the answer of that question on your website, whether it's been found in social or on Google, she now likes you as a brand. She then goes a bit deeper. Well, how can I use my smartwatch when I'm running? If your business is answering that question, then you're building trust. When she's ready to buy, she comes back to you as a business to be able to buy that product. So Rita's more right brain. Then we have Sue. This is a boy named Sue. Now, he's very left brain. He's analytical. He thinks very straight. So he just asks, do I really need a smartwatch? Well, if you do this, tick, and if you do this, tick, and if you do this, tick, then guess what, Sue? You need a smartwatch. But the brand has helped answer that question. Then he's thinking, well, what's involved in this? I have a PC, but I want the Apple iWatch. Can I integrate these two products together? What's involved in this? Is it going to take a lot of time? You as a company need to answer these questions, because then when you've built that know, like, and trust factor, as we've already heard, they come and buy from you and they become loyal and happy customers. Now, these customers that you've got, we all heard about who is your target customer. They work in HR, they work in this particular company. But how do they think? What are the ways that they're thinking? And as we heard earlier, what is that 1% of those clients that you have at the moment? And find out how they think, what's important to them, and create content, communicate to those people to be able to add value to them, and then they come over and buy from you. Your brand digital assets. There are 4 key ways that you can communicate your business online. So we'll start with the very first one. It's what you own as a business. Your websites, your social media accounts, the advertising that you might do, the business cards that you have. These are all your owned media. It's about staying brand consistent from an online to an offline experience. I know we're here today to talk about being online, but you cannot take away the old school ways that people still love to communicate. So the first stage is your owned assets. Then you've got your social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+. We've heard about 3 already that you've heard today about how they're changing and evolving. Again, some people think they're there for not much longer. Other people think they're here to stay. It's about finding out what your target customers think and who those target customers are. If there's one thing that I can give you today to take away, is find that one social network that works for you and your business or your customers and focus on that. Really build your digital assets in that one platform. You've got the paid media. This is where we can pay for adverts, pay for banners. We've heard about the click-through rates. Now, my click-through rates are very different to those percentages, because each one of my target audiences are segmented and spoken to those people in the way that they want to be communicated. So I get much higher click-through rates because of the relevancy and the personalization around all of that. And the bit that I love the most is user-generated content. It's that content that your customers generate for you. I love that type of content because that's totally free. And more importantly, it comes from the heart. Your customers sharing how fantastic your brand is about your business. That is your earned media. These are 4 different ways that are all your digital assets. You can take that earned media and put it into your email marketing. You can take that earned media and put it into your video marketing. There's nothing better than having a customer talk about your brand as part of a video marketing campaign inside of Facebook. I love it. because of the results that it gets. So they're the 4 different ways I want you to be thinking about your brand assets for your business. Why should we be producing content online? If you follow any of the big internet marketeers that are over in America at the moment, they're all talking about how much noise there is out there from a content perspective. That's where the relevancy becomes so important. We need to focus that content and not just write a 400-word article and think that's going to be okay. Write a 1,500-word article or 3,000-word article that is going to stay there for years and stand the test of time. I was having a conversation in the car yesterday with a couple of guys. I wrote an article back in 2009, and it still drives traffic to my website today because of the relevancy of that article. 2009, and I still get traffic. One of my articles drives round about 15 to 20% of my traffic to my website every single month. One article. I wrote that in 2016, updated it in 2017, and I will update it again in 2018. Use this content, repeat this content, and amplify it across each of your different digital assets for what you want to achieve as a business. Visual discovery. How many people here are using Pinterest? Just let me know who's on Pinterest here. Okay, so that's pretty good. You've got quite a lot of people here. There are 2 reasons why I love Pinterest. The first one is I love it because Google loves it. It drives me organic traffic through to my business because I put the content inside Pinterest. Somebody goes into Google, types in a search term, clicks on images. You can go home and test this if you like. I promise you, on the first or second line, on the first page of Google, you will find Pinterest. You click on the image, people come through to your Pinterest account. That's the first reason why I love Pinterest. I do amplify my content across multiple social networks, but I have a focus on which social networks where my target audience hang out. The other reason, which is the first trend, is all about actually being able to search through visuals. So I have a little GIF that you're looking at the moment. If you haven't used this feature yet inside of Pinterest, go and give it a go. The co-founder of Twitter actually built a piece of technology just like this and then sold it to Pinterest. So for me, from a Pinterest perspective, they really are searching for that new trend that's coming out, and that's visual for them. Now, from an e-commerce perspective, I know there's a lot of e-commerce stores here in Prague, probably more than what there is actual population, so I heard yesterday. So from an e-commerce perspective, Pinterest has the highest conversion rate. There are some great statistics out there by an e-commerce platform that analyzed all of the traffic that comes through to its online stores, and Pinterest converts the most. So by using visual search in your images, really does connect and add relevance to your customers. Engagement. It's about telling a story. So who here's connected with me on Twitter? Anybody connected with me on Twitter here? We've got some Twitter. Okay, great. So, come here. Who put the hand up just then on Twitter? Who connected with me on Twitter? Was it you? Yep. Come here. Give me a hug. There you go. See, that's a proper hug. Come on, get in. There you go. There, that's better. There you go. There's a copy of my book. Later, I promise. Look at the smile on his face. I know we're talking about data. I know, I understand that. It is all about performance. But you can't take away that smile on his face. So think about how you can use social media to actually understand that customer acquisition journey. Because when you do meet that person and they give you a proper hug, they remember you. So part of that remembering process is something that I really love. Who of you here watch TED videos You watch TED videos? Okay, there's a few of you here. So I was trying to kind of visualize the concept of storytelling. And I thought, well, actually, TED do it really well. And if you think about the 3 stages that we talk about when it comes to storytelling, which is the second trend that I'm talking about, I warmed you up to the storytelling process. The first one was something that, that was really personal to me. It was in emotion. I've got a 3-month-old baby girl now. That was the emotive part of the storytelling. Then there's something that you were expecting. Certainly Hansel wasn't expecting to do the moonwalk on the stage here today. I used to be a professional hip-hop dancer. Actually, the book cover was designed from the Run DMC logo. Do you remember Run DMC? So when you look at the book cover now and you see the Run DMC logo in there, right? But I just took flat colors and flat fonts and put it into something that's brand consistent. So I kept the heritage around my hip-hop days and I brought it into putting it into my book. So how can you think about ways for storytelling around your brand that get the emotion across, build novelty in regards to what you're doing, and then allows people to be able to remember you? So storytelling is my second trend that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to share with you 5 best practices. Now, each one of these I do. Some of them I do just from a brand awareness perspective. Other ones I do from a specific action that I want people to take. So by writing a relevant piece of content, there will be a call to action at the end of that content that would enable me to stay focused on what that person's needs are and bring them into what I'm going to share with you a little bit later on. So I'm going to share 5 trends with you now. Podcasting. Every single month, I do a podcast. So if podcasting isn't so popular in the Prague market at the moment, why not be a thought leader and start one? We've got 300 people in this room today. That's a lot of conversations. That's a lot of people who have an opinion around what works and what doesn't work. And that's what's so exciting about this space. So think about doing podcasts. Written content. Now, this has been around for a very long time, of course, but it is about doing it better. It isn't about just writing an article on your website. It's really thinking about that customer and giving them the content in that journey, as I shared with you earlier. They're in the early stage of understanding or not understanding how your company can help. But you give them a piece of content that connects with them. Visual content. I've shared with you what Pinterest are doing at the moment. There are a lot of changes that are happening in the social networks. Some I think are amazing, some I'm not so impressed with. But visual content is everything from an image to a GIF, through to live streaming, through to videos, whatever that might be. It's the amount of content that you in the business can produce, but intelligently produce, that connects with your actual visitors through to them being a prospect and through to them being a happy customer. Video. It doesn't have to be in a studio, costing a lot of money. People like it to be real. It's okay for your videos to be real, to be able to share that content out there at the moment. And then last of all, live streaming. There's a lot of controversy around live streaming at the moment because of, from a marketeer's perspective, what is the ROI of live streaming? It's about building brand awareness. We've got to find out whether or not our market actually wants to engage with us as a brand through this medium. And it will work in some cases and it won't work in other cases. But it is about trying it and building this brand awareness for you and for your business. Tell your story. Those visitors want to connect with you as a brand. Tell it as a story through those 5 best practices and allow those customers to have that trust and that after building that loyalty and to get that profit for your business as already been shared this morning. Nurture. This is probably the biggest part of the journey that companies are not doing very well at the moment. I read a great article. I know we've got Google coming up a little bit later on, and I'm not sure whether or not they're going to be talking about this, because probably not, because it's not out yet. But Google are focusing on attribution. Attribution around the way that we as a brand are engaging with our prospects in the middle part of the funnel. It is going to be talking about the social ads that are being used at the moment. It is going to be talking about the automated marketing that we're using to engage with our prospects. But it will now be attributed to what it is that you're going to be doing in your business to track all of that information, not the last touch point or the first touch point, wherever that attribution comes from. It's going to be in the nurturing phase. So the brands that are doing it well at the moment will be able to track that, analyze it, understand what the ROI is around it, and really make it work for you as a business. So from a nurturing phase, I like to maybe look at some social networks, how we can do that nurturing. So as you know, Instagram has stolen quite a few different features from another social network. And one of those is obviously live streaming. So here you can use the app with Boomerang, where you can actually take a video. Then you can go and actually put some content over the top of that video. But what I love about this feature inside of Instagram, it then allows you to put a link on the video, click on it, and come through to the business. So now allowing you to embed links inside of the live streaming videos. They don't allow you to do it inside of the posts, but they do allow you, from an organic perspective, that's what we're looking at here, to be able to keep that potential prospect moving forward and giving them that value and that trust that's important to them. We got Facebook. So I'm sure some of you have done Facebook Live so far. How many of you here heard about what happened in London a couple of days ago? Did you hear what happened in London? So what I'd like you to do now is, I'd like you to share some love with London. Would that be okay with you? Would that be okay with you? So if I live stream right now, when I say hello Prague, would you all please just shout back at me and say hello London? Would that be okay? Okay, so I'm going to test whether or not you actually believe. Hello Prague. I'm going home. Hello Prague. Okay, great. Now, so we're going to do some live streaming. I'm going to talk about being here at the moment. I'm going to click go live, just connecting. You know, probably because of technology, it probably won't end up connecting. Here we go. Hi, Warren Knight here. I'm over in Prague, and we're at Performance 2020. I've got a little message for everybody inside of Facebook that I would like to give to them. Now, as you know, we've had some unfortunate things happen to London over the last few days. But the guys over in Prague wanted to share a little bit of that love. So what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to introduce you to everybody over in Prague, and they're just going to share a little bit of love. So, hello, Prague. Fantastic. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for engaging with me for that. I just want to share a little bit of love from Prague back to London. So this is where I also kind of, do some live streaming and some podcasting on here. There are people all around the world. Actually, this morning I got an email from a company asking them to actually give me an online TV show. And I emailed them back this morning, and I said, how did you find out about me? And they said it was because one of our friends saw you on Facebook, loved your authenticity and around your message, and we'd love for you to be able to share that with our audience. We'd like to give you our own online TV show. Now, if I was to go and knock on their door, they'd probably say to me, that's going to cost you, Warren. You want to be on our show? That's going to cost you a lot of money. But by building brand awareness, it's amazing how other things can happen for you. So don't always think about these new trends as a way that are focused on getting the ROI. Do you know what? Maybe, just maybe, the ROI might come a little bit later. but we've got to try these trends to see whether or not they're going to work for you as a business. YouTube. We heard about YouTube earlier, some stats, not very happy stats around all of that. I love some of the features that are inside of YouTube. So this little video of me in midstream talking about LinkedIn. Actually, when you come towards the end of the video, inside of the playlist, I've got another little video that you can go and watch if that's something of interest in you. But what I love about YouTube is it allows you to connect with the visitor, being authentic through your message, and then allowing that visitor to then click on the screen inside of the video and then go through to a landing page for them to be able to become a prospect of yours, but adding more value to them. So this is the landing page that I would send them through to. A focused, engaging landing page to somebody that's interested in this business-to-business social network. Not marketing automation, not Twitter, not Instagram, not Facebook. One focus, one conversation, one message. The relevancy to that particular person then allows me to capture that person's details for them to be able to become a prospect. Now, and I see this happen a lot. When you are asking for people's details at the early stage of the journey of the nurturing process of capturing those details of that prospect, you want to just ask for either an email address or a name and email address. There are lots of statistics out there that show us if you just ask for an email address, you get a much higher conversion rate. Now, with what I do within my business, it is personal, so I do ask for a name and email address. I'm happy to lose that percentage conversion because every part of my communication then becomes personal. But what not to do is this. You spend all of your time, effort, energy, and money building brand awareness, taking that visitor through to being a prospect of yours, potentially, and then asking them to fill out all this information. If you want more valuable data from that prospect, do it as a stage 2, not as a stage 1. They've got no interest and certainly don't have any time to be able to fill out this much information when they're going through that nurturing process. Marketing automation. In that live podcast that I showed you, the live stream that I did on Facebook, one of the questions was, what is that one thing that everybody knows about, but actually doesn't understand how to get an ROI out of it? Marketing automation. This is the part that Google's going to be focusing on to help us get a better understanding of what that ROI looks like. Now, this is a very simple drip feed process. Once I've engaged with my audience, and this probably goes against some people's opinions here, I have an 8-step marketing automation process. But that marketing automation process is not about sell, sell, sell. It's about adding more value, adding more value. Here's a video. Here's a checklist. I got an email from one of my girls this morning saying the marketing automation for that LinkedIn program that I'm selling, that part of that marketing automation went out this morning, and it was would you like to have a 10-minute call with Warren to be able to help you understand where you're at with your LinkedIn profile and where you can go with your LinkedIn profile? Making it personal. I am not afraid to give up my time to help somebody, whether it's for them to actually become a customer of mine in that process or to just give value to them in that moment. Get people to pick up that phone. We are talking about being online here, but we still have to humanize that process. So in the marketing automation process, think about ways how you can keep adding value and not be that company where you've decided to do a barbecue on a Sunday. We've got the barbecue, we're flipping the burgers, everybody's got beers. That friend of yours turns up, He grabs the burger off the barbecue, starts eating it, picks up a bottle of beer, and then starts going, oh, I've got this great digital agency. Come on, let me talk to you about pay-per-click. It's a great thing to do. Come on, come over here. Let's talk about pay-per-click. We'll sit down and we'll talk about pay-per-click and pay-per-click and pay-per-click. Don't be that person. Don't be that company. Add value to those prospects throughout that journey. Build that trust and build that loyalty. The profit will come from doing that. Remarketing. This is where I've fallen back in love with Facebook. What they're doing. So how many people here are using Pixel at the moment? Facebook Pixel? Okay, great. And how many of you are using custom audience? Okay, so there's only a smaller percentage using custom audience. I love both of these features. Why? Because I make it relevant and personal with my communication. You saw earlier a picture of bookings.com for something that you might be interested in renting for a certain period of time. Well, part of my customer acquisition journey is the relevance through the remarketing. And again, I do get much better click-through rates with that because my content is relevant. But for me, it's about, again, the touch point around building the brand awareness. We are in the nurturing phase here to be able to do this. The cost for me when it comes to doing an image remarketing campaign in Facebook is 18 cents. When I do a video, I've got that down to 1 cent for that video to start playing. Because it's relevant, I'm staying focused on a niche market because of being able to generate those leads, take those leads and put them into Facebook with custom audience, or have a landing page that's on my website of that relevant information that keeps communicating that relevancy to that person. Now, I do have some internet marketing friends over in the States, and from a remarketing perspective, what they do is make sure that advertising advert appears 5 times. I think that's way, way, way too much. So 3 times is my recommendation for you, and then switch it off. I literally run 3-day campaigns of relevancy and then turn them off. Because that keeps adding value and building trust with your audience. Then we get through to the success part. Now the exciting part, the ROI, getting those sales. We've done the relevancy. We've engaged with our audience. We've nurtured that audience. And now they're ready to come and buy from us as a business. That's a success through the online method process. 56% of people follow brands inside of social because either they have bought something from them or they are interested in buying something from them in the future. Now, this differs according to some of the different social networks. But actually, when it comes to people that are fanatical around brands, 31% of those are actually waiting for you as a brand to give them an offer, a discount, run a competition where they can go and win something of yours. 31% of those people that are following your brand want you to communicate to them to get them to come and buy from you. But we don't start selling to them straight away. We have to nurture them. We've got to take them through that nurturing phase around what's going on. Facebook. Okay, who's going to be honest here? When Facebook first came out, so now we're on to another trend around social commerce. Who built a Facebook shopping page for one of their customers about 6-7 years ago? Who did that? A few people going like, yeah, that was me, I did that. Now, you can't really blame us as the marketeers do that. Facebook shouting about it, the customers asking about it. They're going, we've got 10,000 people that love us in our social network. Build me an e-commerce platform page inside of Facebook, and they will buy from us. Well, it took about 2 or 3 years for Facebook and the brands and the customers to realize that the customers had no interest in actually clicking on a separate tab and coming over and buying a product inside of Facebook. 0 interest. So Facebook has kicked all of that to the curb as a trend. And now they've got to understand that actually it's all about positioning that advert for that specific product to that specific customer at that certain time is now far more relevant and returns a much better ROI than what actually building an e-store inside of that particular social network. You've got Instagram. Now, they're being quite clever around the way that they're doing that at the moment. It's putting the product placement inside of that storytelling process. Clicking on that image, being able to then go through and buy that product. These are the trends that are happening inside of these social networks at the moment. I know there are a lot of e-commerce stores in Czech at the moment. There's a couple of thousand apparently. But it's those ones that work with these trends and do that focused marketing campaigns to their target customers that will be able to really benefit from an ROI perspective around doing the social commerce inside of these social networks. And you've got Pinterest. I shared with you earlier the visual search process behind that. If your brands have their products on the inside of that social network, allowing people to be able to go and search for that specific little image inside of somebody else's picture and then the product appear for them to be able to go and buy. If that's the space that they're in at that moment, then we've got to allow them to do that. Don't get me wrong, that has nothing to do with the actual nurturing process of this. We've already built that trust and that loyalty. We're just giving them the information that's important to them to want to take that action. Brand advocates, the last part of my online method. This is so key. We heard earlier, 1%. Who are those 1% of your customers that you need to go and find information out about? I would actually look at this as going, well, out of all the customers that you got, you're going to have the ones that might come back eventually. You've got the ones that, love what it is that you do. But I'd say it's probably sit in the top 4% of the people that buy those products that are actually going to be your brand advocates. Find out who those guys are. Get them to happily talk about your business and your brand online. They will help you promote what it is that you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. 26% of recommendations inside of social media then convert into sales. So we as businesses really need to understand who those brand advocates are that we can connect to, add more value to, bring them into a live stream. Get them to come into the studio, do a live stream in studio, go on the streets, go and connect with them, whatever it is. Get these people to talk about your brand and your business through the process of being a brand advocate. My last trend, chatbots. Anyone using chatbots here at the moment? No, you're using chatbots? Playing with it at the moment? Is anybody here using chatbots yet? Give me a hand up. Wow. You are using chatbots? A little bit. Okay. Well, I'm going to reward you with a little book because this is a new trend that's happening at the moment. And I do love what's happening out there in the space. So I use chatbots in a couple of different ways. To be able to reconnect with my customers, build brand advocacy. There are some tools that are out there at the moment. So the one on the right that you're seeing there, on the left, sorry, that you're seeing there is Zopin from Zendesk. It actually allows you to set up automated replies to people at that early stage of just making sure that that's the information that they're interested in. There are some great tools out there, ManyChat, which will allow you to use Facebook to be able to actually have conversations. Now, this is early stage at the moment. We are talking about trends that are happening, but it's about some of those trends that are going to work for your brands. Some of you went, around e-commerce inside of Facebook. Chatbots and AI is going to do nothing but get more and more intelligent. But we as a business, when we know what our top 4% of our customers are saying and doing, we can take that content and put it into these chatbots, making sure that we're adding value to the people that are asking those questions. But always have that human touch inside of that. Make sure it's being managed and monitored by a human being. We are not extinct yet. But we've got to make sure that we are using this technology in a way that connects with our customers at a time that's important to them, with us as a brand. Eight times. A friend of theirs talks about you inside social media, and they recommend your business. They then click on your link and come over to your website. Touch point number 1, touch point number 2 on your website. They land on a specific page. You've got Pixel on your website. They then get an advert sent to them inside of Facebook. They go, oh, I'm not quite ready yet. Oh, a week later, there's another advert. Okay, great, now I'm ready. They come back and connect with your brand. Go, oh, I'm not really interested in that product, but oh, there's some other products. Oh, you've got live chat on your website. Let me have a conversation with somebody. Oh, okay, right. So you have got my product in my size. Oh, here's the link. Thanks. Go to another page, connect with that product. They buy. Then within your remarketing process, you're engaging back with that person again, but with relevance around what's going on. So it now takes 8 times for that person to be able to become a visitor, then a prospect and a customer, and then carry on to be a brand advocate of ours. So for me, what I love about these trends, it helps me reduce the sales cycle inside of that process, especially in that nurturing phase in the middle. And Google really are seeing this as an important part. Since I wrote the book 3 years ago, there have been 14 Google updates. 14 different updates of changes and shifts around what's going on. That's not going to change because it's all driven by what we want to do as consumers and how important it is for us brands to understand what that ROI is around that. So the 6 trends. Just going to take you back again and remind you what those 6 trends are. Visual search. Pinterest are doing it, and they're doing it very well at the moment. Storytelling. Don't forget to tell the stories. I gave you 5 best practices that you can use to be able to do the storytelling around your brand or your customers' brands. Choose one. Choose all of them. I would recommend choosing all of them. Live streaming. You never know what can happen from doing a live stream. And it doesn't have to be about the product. It doesn't have to be about the business. It's about humanizing this online process. It's about engaging with that audience and having conversations and being authentic. Marketing automation. A huge part of how we as businesses are going to be able to connect with our customers in that nurturing phase as long as it's relevant. You're going to bombard them with a load of rubbish, you really will get the stats that we heard earlier. And then the last phase, we've got social commerce. So use these different social networks that have these features to be able to get that person to take that action when it's important to them. And the last one's artificial intelligence. These chatbots, there are some great tools that are out there, and they're fairly simple and easy to use. Have some fun with them. Get one person to focus on it. Dedicate a little bit of time to it and start having some fun with it and learn it. It's about having a mindset shift. As I shared with you earlier, Stephen Hawking is saying, if we don't start understanding this technology in 100 years, or we don't start kind of evolving into other planets, then guess what? We're not going to be around anymore. Now, that's his opinion. But my point is, use this technology to be able to engage with your target audience, but do it in a way that you start with relevancy. Then we go through to engagement. We nurture those customers. We don't just take them through to that sales process until they've been nurtured and we've built that trust. Then we get that sale, and then the loyalty kicks in. They become massive brand advocates of who we are as a business. And then the profit comes. Degree.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
No problem. Thank you very much for your hip-hop dancing.
Oh, thank you very much for teaching me that. I'm gonna hit the party today. Yeah, we have lot of questions.
Okay.
So we can start with the first one. How can we differentiate advocates and other customers? How can we really work with them?
So stage one for me is about listening to what they're saying about our business online. When you've got those people that are happily talking about your brand, or they, talk about what great customer service you've got, jump on those guys immediately and add more value to those people. I've mentioned that your top 4% of your customers. It's those people that are happy to hear from you. Don't worry about the other, 90-odd%. Focus on those ones that do love your brand and that engage with you on a regular basis. There's some great technology out there. With the marketing automation, you can track and see exactly who's been clicking on what through those tags. Speak to those guys. So analyze that data. We are getting down to data now. So 1, listening online, who's talking about your brand. 2, use the data. And then you have a nice mix of what that 4% looks like and engage with those people and get them to become your brand advocates. Set up a brand advocate, process inside of your business. When was the last time you actually designed your, your customer promise? I have 4 different types of revenue streams that comes into my business, and I have a customer promise for each one of those different revenue streams. When you understand what your promise is to your customers, part of that promise is when they go and talk about you online, get that person to become an advocate. So take a step back, design your customer promise, do the listening, look at the data, and focus on that 1%, 4% of those people that are interested and love your brand.
I see that a lot of people started to Google customer promise at the moment. Another is about future. What do you think about the trend of blocking cookies, GDPR, and so on? Effectively disabling the possibility for personalized marketing. Will it last?
Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but next year is a brand new scary feature for us guys in business called the right to remove. Consumers will now have the right to be removed at any stage of that customer acquisition journey. So it's not so much about kind of what the future's going to look like. It's going to be here next year, and we need to understand it. But this is why I start off with it being relevance. If you are being relevant, when we heard earlier about, the people that you've got in your database at the moment, they're not there anymore. Clean that up, throw that away. So the right to remove is coming next year. That is the future.
Yeah, so it will last.
Definitely.
It will last.
Yep.
Unfortunately. You are perfect. To use live streams, don't you think it could be dangerous sometimes? One bad word and the problem is alive?
Of course, there's plenty of stories around that one tweet, that one message, that one conversation. We have to be intelligent when we're using this technology. Whilst it is about humanizing the internet and having those conversations with people, be structured to the reasons why what you are saying. We just have to be a little bit intelligent when we're using this real-time technology just to make sure that these things don't happen. We hear about it all the time. We don't want to be that person. So if you are going to do something, have a strategy to the reasons why you're doing it. In regards to, I always like to decide what my little box looks like and what I'm going to talk about inside that box and what I won't talk about outside that box. No different when it comes to doing live streams. Just have a purpose and a strategy.
Thank you. It's changing so fast. What do you think about recent brand safety issues? YouTube, can it really damage the process of brand building?
So there's been a lot of changes on YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why I got brought in to speak on Sky News. And a lot of that was all about the YouTube heroes, as they're being called at the moment. Those brands, those individual brands that are online selling games, makeup, whatever it might be, they become massive global brands that are now generating millions of dollars, A, for themselves, but also for the brands that they're selling. And YouTube have hit them hard over the last few months. They've looked at the terminology that they're using, the way that they're speaking to their audiences, and the authenticity behind that. So it's very difficult to kind of to actually determine what we talk about, to determine what YouTube's going to do with our brands. But as long as we're being authentic and engaging, again, Google analyzes all of this data. We look at what's going on with our Facebook fan pages, which is why I love Facebook groups. Inside of the group, you've got those people that have bought your products and services, and then that's where I'm having fun with my using my AI at the moment, because these guys have already built trust and loyalty with them and are being transparent at what I'm doing. So it's difficult to know what YouTube's going to be doing with brands, but authenticity is key.
Thank you. The other one is short. Do you like Prague?
I love you guys. Thank you very much for being amazing. Thank you. And also, all of London now loves you, so that's what's even better.
Do you agree that most companies have major problem in their brand? They don't understand it and they cannot present it anymore? Is it true?
I was having this conversation last night, and we're talking about how things have evolved. I know I started doing this nearly 10 years ago now. I've gone through 3 brand changes. I've evolved in regards to how the consumers have evolved and technology's evolved and my knowledge has evolved. So my branding shifted 3 times over the last 10 years. And I think it's really important, especially when we heard earlier about, your email database, what percentage of those people are now no longer interested in you? So if we evolve as a brand, if we go through a rebranding process, a refocusing process, because of how consumers have changed or how technology has evolved, I think it's so key for us to evolve through that process to get laser focused and help that right target audience with our knowledge and experience. So from a brand perspective, I think it's really important that we do evolve both the branding and a message perspective.
Thank you. And the last one from Slido. Can you tell us some successful examples, case study, of using comprehensive marketing automatization strategy?
I can only share with you kind of what I've been testing at the moment with my own business. And, every single month I have a different focused around relevancy. And every single month I have a process that I track and measure around connecting with those different types of target audiences. Now, they might all have the same problem of not understanding LinkedIn or don't understand email marketing or understand how to use Twitter or Instagram. They still have that same problem of building brand awareness about their business to their target audience. That's the higher level goal that they want to achieve. But chunking that down and getting laser focused on small parts of that and having a process behind all of that is what's really key. Marketing automation is only a part of it. I use live streaming, I use content, I use visuals, I use videos, I pick up the phone and have conversations. I build that credibility and that authenticity and that trust into the marketing automation, not buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. So that's all I can kind of really share with you about that process around that strategy.
Thank you. I think we have time for one last question from an audience. Would you be so keen to give the book to the one who asks?
One more question. Who would like a book? Okay, is that a question book or you'd like a book? Yeah.
Is it a question?
Okay.
I'd like to know what kind of analytics program you are using to find who your typical consumer is. If you are using just Google Analytics or Analytics 360, what kind is it?
So what technology am I using to analyze that data?
Yes.
I have a different pieces of technology that I use. I do use Google Analytics. I use BuzzSumo. There's various different tools that I use from a social media perspective to be able to analyze that. For me at the moment, there isn't one thing. There isn't one technology that's going to give you all of the answers. I analyze the data inside of my email marketing automation tool and kind of throw all of that into a pot and sort of look at what's going on at the moment. So I don't think there's any one product. A different brand will have a different feature that will be a different benefit to you. I think it's just about, analysing what's important to you, giving it a go and finding out whether or not, it's right for you as a business. But, one of the best tools that I use that helps me drive focused and targeted customers is actually, for me, is about building partnerships.
Okay.
Those partnerships, to me, are worth far more than what they are looking at the small data behind the analysis. I like to build relationships and work with those partners that are driving those focused prospects to me because of the way that I'm staying really relevant with that communication to that audience. So I start off really at that high level. I obviously look at the data, and that's really important, but there isn't one tool that I use. So partnerships for me are my high level kind of analytical tool.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, no problem at all. There's a book for you. Great.
So no Google Data Studio, no Power BI, no Tableau.
I've played with some of them. You know, you can spend, you know, I don't have a big business. You know, I built a technology company many, many years ago. I got that business to be, you know, £1 million in less than 2 years. Had an office in Shoreditch. Had shareholders, investors, bank. You know, going through my second round of investment. I did all of that, and do you know what? I didn't enjoy it. I love the journey that I went on. So now my team are all virtual, and I bring in experts at different part of that process. So, but it is just understanding, you know, what that business model is for your business and using the right product.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for teaching me to moonwalk
Some hip
and
hop.
everything.